Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. And in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings for Tuesday, November the 22nd. Now we do have a short slate for Tuesday, just 4 games today, but still guys, we're going to talk through each one of these 4 games. We're going to go game by game, give my quick thoughts on the slate, what I do like, taking a first look on Monday night. And before we do get started with the breakdown, as always, if you guys do enjoy these DFS videos, if they do help you out, please hit that like button down below. I always appreciate the likes. And if you have not yet, hit that subscribe button as well. Also, check out the sponsor of this video, Prize Picks. And want to give a shout out to Prize Picks because they are running a very cool promo right now. If you look on the screen, if you look to my left, Prize Picks is running a free square basically for the NFL game on Thursday. So obviously Thursday is Thanksgiving, and obviously every Thanksgiving there's at least I think there's 3 NFL games every Thanksgiving. It's like a 3-game slate. There's going to be games on all day, and in the night game between the Vikings and the Patriots, you do have Justin Jefferson's receiving yards set at 0.5. This is a guaranteed pick to hit. Obviously, maybe Justin Jefferson gets injured on the first play of the game, and I'm sure if that were to somehow happen, Prize Picks would just refund this anyway. But this is pretty much a guaranteed pick to hit. You would take the over on 0.5 receiving yards for Justin Jefferson, and you just have to find any other pick that you like to pair with that. You can triple up your money, easy as that. And you don't have to take NFL picks. So if you don't really follow NFL, you don't have to take an NFL pick. You could take an NBA pick or any other sport. On Prize Picks, you can mix and match sports, and you can do multi-sport entries. It's a lot of fun. You guys definitely need to be playing over there. Make sure that when you sign up for Prize Picks, use promo code NOAH. You will get your first deposit matched up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. And as always, I should have some Prize Picks plays posted for the NBA slate today. I'll have my video posted sometime early on Tuesday. Definitely check that out if you guys want to know some plays I like for Prize Picks today. And I should be making a video for the Thanksgiving Day NFL slate. So I'll definitely be sharing some plays I like for Thanksgiving for NFL. If you guys want to check that video out, it should be posted sometime later this week. But you guys definitely need to be playing on Prize Picks. Take advantage of this Justin Jefferson free square, this free pick they are giving you. Make sure that when you do sign up for Prize Picks, use promo code NOAH. You will get your first deposit matched up to $100. But let's go ahead and talk about today's DFS slate. 4 games. We'll start off with the first game of the night, and this one's going to be a very fun one to watch. We got Brooklyn and Philadelphia, and we got Ben Simmons returning to Philadelphia. This is the first time that Ben Simmons will be facing Philadelphia and actually playing. I know these teams did play last season, but Ben Simmons wasn't healthy then, and he didn't play in that game. So this will be Ben Simmons' kind of first game back to Philadelphia since he left. So obviously it's going to be interesting to see how the Philadelphia fans treat Ben Simmons. I'm sure every time he touches the ball, he's going to get booed. But we'll talk about that in a second. So starting off, looking at the top here, a lot of injuries in this game too. No Joel Embiid, no James Harden, no Tyrese Maxey. Tobias Harris should be playing. He's probable, but obviously no Embiid, Harden, Maxey is going to open up a lot from the Sixers that we'll talk about. But looking, at the Brooklyn side, you got KD and Kyrie at the top. 11-2 for KD and 9-4 for Kyrie. Now that Kyrie is back and playing, I'm not that interested in either one of these Brooklyn guys. We saw Kevin Durant's production be just kind of mediocre last game. He played 36 minutes, had just 47 DK points. He really hasn't been justifying this price tag, this 11-2 price tag. And now that Kyrie's back, I definitely think KD is a little bit overpriced. Now, it's a small slate, and raw points matter on small slates. So, even if Kevin Durant gets you 50 tonight, that could still be fine. But I'm not going to be going out of my way to force Kevin Durant into my lineups at this salary. And then Kyrie Irving, he made his return last game from suspension, but he only played 26 minutes. They kind of took it easy on him. He wasn't super productive either, only had 23 DK points. I do expect Kyrie to get back to playing his normal, 35, 36 minutes, but how long will that take? I don't really know. I think at 9,400, Kyrie is not someone that I'm super interested in today. If I had to go to one of Kyrie or KD, I think I would take the savings and play Kyrie, but I'm really not interested in the top 2 Brooklyn guys. And then talking about some of these Philadelphia plays. So without Embiid, Harden, and Maxey, that's going to open up a ton of usage, a ton of opportunity for guys like Tobias Harris, D'Anthony Melton, Shake Milton as well. Tobias Harris has been out, I believe, the last few games, but he's expected back for this one. He's probable. He should have a really, really big usage rate here. He should be really productive with no Harden, Maxey, or Embiid. Obviously, he's going to be the number 1 option on offense. His usage should be way up. His rebounding numbers should be really good. They might play him at center some in this matchup. So I think at 7,800, Tobias Harris is a pretty strong play at this salary. He's normally not a guy that I really go out of my way to play, but obviously with the Sixers being so shorthanded today, we definitely want to look to Harris here. And then D'Anthony Melton had a massive game last game. 37 minutes, 47 DK points. Clearly, he benefits with no Harden, with no Maxey, and obviously Embiid being out is a benefit as well. 7,500 is a lot for D'Anthony Melton, but I do expect him to be very productive when he's on the floor, and I do expect him to play big minutes. So I don't think he's out of play. I think he is viable, but he's not like my favorite play from Philadelphia just because he is so expensive. I think between him or Harris, I probably would go with Harris there, but both are viable. And then I do want to talk about Shake Milton real quick. So I think Shake Milton at 5,300 is probably one of the better plays on this slate. He's just way too cheap. He's going to start at point guard. He played 38 minutes last game starting at point guard, took 15 shots, had pretty good usage, 27 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. Shake Milton has always been a relatively productive player when he does get minutes, and clearly with Harden and Maxey out, there's going to be a lot of minutes available in the backcourt, and I do expect Shake Milton to play a lot of minutes here. So at 5,300, even though he did get priced up a good amount, I think Shake Milton is still probably too cheap. I think he should be like 6,500, 6,600. I definitely think 5,300 is still way too cheap for Shake Milton. So really like Shake Milton. And then talking about some other pieces from Brooklyn. So Ben Simmons, his return to Philadelphia, how is he going to play here? I think it's going to be interesting to see how he plays. If he's getting booed constantly, which he probably will be. He's been really good lately. He's looked pretty productive. He's been doing everything. We've kind of seen like the Ben Simmons of old. He's been scoring around the rim, been getting rebounds, been getting assists as well. His minutes have been pretty good too, 32 and 35 minutes the last 2 games. He did actually start at center last game against Memphis. I think that was obviously due to Nicholas Claxton being out. Now Nicholas Claxton is expected to be back today. And we saw when Nicholas Claxton was healthy, they were actually bringing Ben Simmons off the bench, and Ben Simmons was kind of like the backup center. I don't know what they're going to do with the starting lineup today, if they're going to start Ben Simmons alongside Claxton or if they're going to continue to bring Simmons off the bench. My guess is Simmons is going to start today, so even if Simmons starts at the 4 or at the 5, I think there's a good chance he still plays pretty big minutes. Hopefully this production continues. He's been averaging well over a fantasy point per minute these last few games. The production's been good. He's been doing everything when he's on the floor. He's been more aggressive offensively. Plus you add in the narrative facing his former team. The fans are going to be booing him. This could definitely be a spot where Simmons looks to be aggressive, tries to show out. So I do like Ben Simmons quite a bit at 6,300. I think from the Brooklyn side, he's probably my favorite play overall. But I definitely think Nick Claxton is interesting, 5,400. Obviously, pretty good matchup here without Joel Embiid having to go up against him or not having to face Embiid. You don't have to worry about any foul trouble risk or anything like that. I don't know what the Sixers are going to do with their starting lineup. We'll talk about that in a second. They could start like a Montrezl Harrell or a Paul Reed, or they could just go small and start PJ Tucker at center. I think regardless, it's going to be a pretty good matchup for Claxton. I do expect him to play 26 to 30 minutes if this game's close. I think 5,400 is a little bit too cheap for him, so I'm definitely interested in Nicholas Claxton as well. But like Royce O'Neal at 5,500, I think is priced about right. Not a ton of interest in him. Niang at 4,600 should be looking at some more usage off the bench, but I think he's priced about right as well. The guys I do want to talk about are the bigs from Philadelphia. So Montrezl Harrell's 4,500. Paul Reed is 3,700. Again, I don't know what the Sixers are going to do with their starting lineup. They could start one of those 2 guys at center, or they could start PJ Tucker at center. And we have seen in games this season that Joel Embiid has missed, we've seen them actually do that, start PJ Tucker at center. So just kind of a wait and see right now. If Montrezl Harrell starts at center, I think he's a really good value. If Paul Reed starts at center, I think he's a really good value. If neither one of them starts and they go with PJ Tucker at center, then I'm not as interested in Harrell or Reed. So I would prefer to see one of those 2 guys starting. And if they do, whichever one starts, I think is a pretty good value. And I guess the last guy I'll mention is Seth Curry. It is a revenge game for him facing his former team. At 4,300, I think Curry is viable here. Even with Kyrie back last game, Curry still played 25 minutes off the bench. Seems like he's going to be, a guy that plays 24, 25 minutes off the bench almost every night. Production is definitely going to differ from game to game. There's going to be some games where he's knocking down shots. There's going to be some games where he just can't hit anything. And there's definitely kind of a low floor on Curry, but I think the ceiling is definitely there. Revenge game as well. I think at 4,300, he's like an okay value play. But that's probably it for this game. There's definitely a lot to like here because so many injuries on the Philadelphia side is opening up a lot of plays. And then on the Brooklyn side, I'm not as interested in the Brooklyn side, but I think guys like Ben Simmons, Nicholas Claxton, maybe Seth Curry, I can get behind those 3 plays. But let's go ahead and move on to the next game. We'll talk about Sacramento and Memphis. So for Memphis, Desmond Bane's still out for today, and John Morant is doubtful. So obviously not expected to have either one of those guys tonight. Memphis on the Memphis side at least. Now for Sacramento, you got De'Aaron Fox at 9,600. You got Domantas Sabonis at 9,500. I don't think either one of Fox or Sabonis are going to be priority spend ups for me, but I definitely think they are in play on a short slate like this. Clearly, De'Aaron Fox has a ton of upside. He's going to play big minutes if this is a close game. I think the matchup against Memphis is fine. I think this is definitely a game that should be played at a pretty fast pace. I think this game should be relatively high scoring. So at 9,600, I'm okay with De'Aaron Fox. Again, I think he's priced correctly for today, but he is viable. And then, Domantas Sabonis going up against Steven Adams. I think this is like an okay spot for Domantas Sabonis. At 9,500, I don't think Sabonis is like too cheap or anything. I think he's also priced correctly, but these Kings guys are in play just because it is a short slate and we're kind of lacking, pay-up options. But a lot of my interest in this game is coming from the Memphis side. So without Ja, who's doubtful, with no Desmond Bane, we should see a lot of usage for guys like Dillon Brooks, Triple J, John Konchar also play pretty good minutes. Want to start off with Dillon Brooks. So Dillon Brooks this season has not been that great whenever Ja and Bane have been out. Like there's been a couple games, I think. There's been at least 1 or 2 games this season where Ja and Bane have both been out and Brooks was just kind of like mediocre. Well, last game, he really popped off. He took 30 shots, played 34 minutes, and had 52 Draftkings points. By far his best game of the season. Jaren Jackson Jr. was also out last game, and Jaren Jackson Jr. is expected to play today. So can we expect 50 Draftkings points from Dillon Brooks again? I don't think so. And at 7,300, since he did get priced up a good amount, I'm not super interested in Dillon Brooks today. I think his usage will still be pretty good. I think he will take a lot of shots, but he's kind of priced correctly now for what his role is. So not super interested in Dillon Brooks at that high price tag. I think Triple J looks solid at 6,400. Now, he's only played in 2 games this season, and he was limited to 25 minutes in both those games. So how many minutes is Triple J going to play today? I don't really know, but I do expect him to be very productive when he is on the floor because he does get a nice bump in usage without Ja and without Bane. And I think the matchup against Sacramento is pretty good as well. Even if we get like 26, 28 minutes from Jaren Jackson Jr., he could definitely put up 40 Draftkings points in 28 minutes in this type of matchup. And I think he's going to take a lot of shots. Rebounding numbers should be good. He's obviously a guy that can rack up a ton of defensive stats. So I'm definitely interested in Jaren Jackson Jr. John Konchar also had a big game last game, played really good minutes. He should continue to start and play pretty good minutes, but I think at 6,200, I'm not like running to roster John Konchar at 6,200, but he is in play. And, he has been a relatively productive player when he does get minutes, and I think the minutes will definitely be there, with John Bane out. And then Tyus Jones was a very popular play on Sunday. He'll be pretty popular again, I would assume. His price tag rose a little bit, but honestly, it didn't come up enough. I think without John Morant, Tyus Jones should be like above 6K. He should be like 6,500. I still think 5,900 is a little bit too cheap for him. We know Tyus Jones is going to start at point guard. He's going to play 33, 34, 35 minutes. He's usually a fantasy point per minute player. 5,900. I definitely think Tyus Jones is a little bit too cheap today. So I would say my favorite plays from Memphis are probably Tyus Jones and Triple J. But Dillon Brooks is viable. Just don't love him at that salary. John Konchar is viable. Just don't love him at that salary. The rest of Memphis, like Steven Adams, I'm not really going to at 5,400. I think he's priced about right. And then the bench guys I'm not that interested in. And then looking at some other Kings besides Fox and Sabonis, Kevin Huerter's been playing really well lately, but he's 6,100 now, so I think he's kind of priced to where he should be. Harrison Barnes has also been playing pretty well. His price has come up to 5,700. Don't mind Harrison Barnes at 5,700, but again, like this is not a guy that I'm really running to roster at 5,700. I'd rather go to like Tyus Jones or even Triple J if I can get up to those guys. Malik Monk's played pretty well off the bench for the Kings this season. He's probably going to get like 25, 28 minutes. It's going to depend on how he's shooting. If he's shooting really well, you could see him play like 30, 32 minutes. If he's having a poor shooting game, you could see his minutes get cut a little bit. He did get ejected last game, so obviously that was one of the reasons his minutes were so low. He's like a GPP dart throw, but I think Malik Monk's playable. And like Keegan Murray, obviously he's been starting this season. He's been playing pretty good minutes. It just, his point per minute production has not been great. There's been a lot of games, like last game he played 35 minutes and he only had 16 Draftkings points. He's been like a very, boom-bust player this season. He's had a lot of very disappointing games. He's had, some good games as well. He's only 5,400, so like I don't hate it as a value play. We know the minutes should be there, and this should be a relatively fast-paced, high-scoring game. So like I think Keegan Murray has a path to 28, 30 Draftkings points. He's an okay value play, but not a guy that I would think you really have to build around tonight. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game. I think that does it for this one. Detroit and Denver. So another game where we have a lot of injuries to talk about. Nikola Jokic is doubtful. Jamal Murray is doubtful. Bones Highland, he's probable, so he's expected to play. And then Aaron Gordon is questionable. And then obviously on the Detroit side, no Kay Cunningham, no Isaiah Stewart, no Sadiq Bey. So we'll start off with Jaden Ivey at 7K. Clearly, without Kay Cunningham, that's been beneficial. It's been benefiting Jaden Ivey lately. But he's 7K now. I don't think at 7K I'm that interested in Jaden Ivey. He just hasn't shown the upside to really be worth a 7K price tag. And while there's obviously more upside available for him without Cade, the price tag is correct in my opinion. And then, Bones Highland obviously been benefiting as well, without Jamal Murray. But 6,700, I think Bones is priced to a point where I'm not running to roster him either. I played him the last two slates when he was 5K and 5,600, but tonight at 6,700, I think Bones is still okay. He's still in play. I just don't think he's as much of a priority now that his price tag has come up to where it is. Still, though, he should get really good minutes off the bench, and clearly there's a lot of usage available without Jokic and without Murray, potentially without Aaron Gordon too. And then Bojan's going to benefit without Cade, but he's 6,500. I think that's an appropriate price tag. Now 6K Bruce Brown, I can still get behind that. Last two games without Jamal Murray and without Jokic, we've seen Bruce Brown play 30 and 36 minutes, 36 and 32 Draftkings points. He should play pretty big minutes once again. He's going to start at point guard. He's going to handle the ball a lot, and he's historically been a pretty productive player when he does get minutes. He's also a guy that can do everything when he's on the floor. He can score, get rebounds, get assists, get defensive stats. I still like Bruce Brown quite a bit at 6K. And then Michael Porter Jr., he's been a really frustrating player to roster lately. I thought without Jamal Murray, without Jokic, this would be a time for Michael Porter Jr. to really step up and have some big games, but he's been pretty disappointing lately. 24 minutes against Dallas in a blowout loss, just 16 Draftkings points. Last game, 31 minutes against Dallas, 25 DK points. Definitely, those matchups against Dallas were not nearly as good. This is obviously a much better spot against the Pistons, who are one of the worst defensive teams in the league. So I think Michael Porter Jr. is going to have a good game at some point. This could definitely be the spot where he finally does have a good game. So I do kind of like him in GPPs. I think the field is going to be off of him just because he's been so bad lately. But there's clearly upside available for MPJ without Jokic and Murray. He should soak up a lot of usage. And we've seen Michael Porter Jr. have big games this season. We know that ceiling is definitely there. He has to start knocking down some shots, which is something that he struggled to do lately. But if this is finally the game where he knocks down some shots, you could definitely see a big Michael Porter Jr. game in tournaments. I think he's definitely intriguing. And then Aaron Gordon is questionable. He's been out the last two games. If he were to play today, I think he would have a pretty big role without Jokic and without Murray. And I think at 5,600, Aaron Gordon would look very appealing if he does play. And obviously there's no limits or anything, so that'll be something to monitor. And then the rest of these Pistons, guys like Killian Hayes, Alec Burks, Marvin Bagley, I'm not that interested in any of these guys. Marvin Bagley has been starting at center lately. He's been dealing with foul trouble, though. He picked up some quick fouls against the Lakers. He had 5 fouls last game against Sacramento. I will say that without Jokic, this is definitely a better matchup for Marvin Bagley. He's probably going to get matched up with DeAndre Jordan, and I think that's a matchup that Bagley can definitely excel in. Now, Bagley is he's not a great defender or anything, but he's a pretty good offensive big. He's a guy that can score, and he can get rebounds. In tournaments at 4,700, I'm kind of interested in Marvin Bagley. I think if he does play well out of the gate and if he avoids foul trouble, he has a path to 28, 30 minutes. So he's kind of intriguing at 4,700. He should be very low owned. DeAndre Jordan should start at center once again for Denver. Last game he got 34 minutes, which I definitely did not expect. But how many minutes will DeAndre Jordan be able to play tonight? I'm guessing high 20s. Maybe he gets 30. I wouldn't expect 34 minutes again, but it seems like Mike Malone loves playing DeAndre Jordan, and clearly he's going to be the starting center. He's going to get the minutes while Jokic is out. So at 4,500, I think DeAndre Jordan is still okay. I don't think he's a great value by any means, but he's still at least playable. Getting 34 minutes out of him last game was at least intriguing to see. That at least shows that he has somewhat of a minute ceiling. And then do want to mention that Isaiah Livers started last game in place of Sadiq Bey, but he didn't really do anything. He played just 16 minutes. Even if Isaiah Livers starts again, I'm not really that interested in him. I think that's it for everything in this game. Guys like KCP, Alec Burks, Killian Hayes, we didn't really mention them, but I don't think at their price tags, they're guys I'm super interested in. So let's go ahead and talk about the last game of the night, the Lakers and the Suns. So looking at this one, some injuries in this game as well. Chris Paul already been ruled out for this game. Cam Johnson obviously still out. No Jay Crowder for the Suns either. And on the Lakers side, Anthony Davis is probable, so he's expected to play. LeBron is once again questionable. I think LeBron winds up playing tonight. He's been out for their last 4 games. He's been questionable for all 4 of those games. Or I think one game he was doubtful. The last few games, though, he's been questionable. I think this could definitely be the game LeBron returns because it's a national TV game against a big-time opponent. Their last few games have been against like bad teams. They played the Spurs. They played the Pistons. Well, now this is a big-time game against the Suns on national TV. This is a game you probably would want LeBron to play in. So I think LeBron has definitely a good chance to play tonight. And if he does return, that's going to make things really just kind of unappealing on the Lakers side because obviously everyone has been priced up for when LeBron was out. So if LeBron comes back, there's really nothing I like on the Lakers. But if LeBron does remain out, then we can look to Anthony Davis, maybe Russell Westbrook we can go to as well. Do want to mention that Anthony Davis has been playing out of his mind lately. Last 4 games, 56, 63, 70, and 64 DraftKings points. And last game against San Antonio, he put up 64 DK points in literally 28 minutes. They just beat the crap out of San Antonio. It's good to see Anthony Davis playing this well. I've always said I thought Anthony Davis was like one of the best players in the league when he's healthy. And man, he's been looking awesome lately. He's been scoring a ton, dominating on the glass, getting a ton of defensive stats, blocking shots, getting steals. He's been crushing the stat sheet. And if LeBron does remain out, I think Anthony Davis is someone we can definitely look to pay up for. Even if LeBron, even if you do play Anthony Davis and LeBron winds up playing, like it's not like you're drawing dead. I mean, clearly Anthony Davis can still have a big game even with LeBron playing, but you would obviously prefer LeBron to be out just because that does boost Anthony Davis's point per minute production. So I would have a lot of interest in Anthony Davis as a pay-up option today if LeBron remains out. And then, Devin Booker, I think, is a really good pay-up option, too. I think it's a great matchup here against the Lakers. Lakers have been playing really fast this season. Booker has had, some big games lately without Chris Paul. Had 78 DraftKings points against Utah. He had 50 against Miami. He's also had some disappointing games, but clearly the upside is much higher with Paul off the floor. He's just going to have the ball in his hands so much. His assist numbers should be much higher. And this is a really good matchup against a, relatively poor defense and a team that does play fast. So I definitely like Devin Booker today. Now, Russell Westbrook at 8,300, really only considering him if LeBron's out. And even if LeBron does sit, I think at this salary, Russ feels priced to where he should be. I thought when he was like 7,300, he was definitely too cheap. Well, now that he's 8,300, this is a price tag that is appropriate. So even if LeBron sits, I wouldn't really be like running to roster Russell Westbrook. And then guys like Cameron Payne, Mikal Bridges, those guys benefit without Chris Paul, but they feel priced correctly for the spot here. Payne, I think, has some upside in this matchup. He's had some big games without Chris Paul. Had a 47-point game against Golden State. Had 47 DK points last game against the Knicks. Again, 7,100. This feels like the right price tag for Cameron Payne, but clearly without Chris Paul, there's plenty of upside available for him. We know he's going to start. He's going to play good minutes. I think he's playable today. And then DeAndre Ayton will be the last guy that we mentioned just because, at 6,800, I think this is a price tag Ayton can definitely outperform. And we've seen Ayton be pretty disappointing lately, but he did have a really big game against Utah, put up 48 DraftKings points in 37 minutes. Last game against the Knicks was a blowout. He still put up 36 DK points in just 27 minutes. I think this is a really good matchup against the Lakers. I know this season the Lakers have been giving up a lot of fancy points to opposing centers. So I definitely think Ayton at 6,800 is viable here. He's someone that I do kind of have some interest in today. But that's probably it. I think the rest of these guys, like Lonnie Walker, the rest of these Lakers, you're only considering these guys if LeBron winds up sitting. And I think, again, there's a good chance LeBron winds up playing tonight. So that'll do it, guys. That'll do it for this 4-game Tuesday slate. I hope, as always, you guys enjoyed this video. Hit that like button if you did enjoy it. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. Also, check out PrizePicks. Again, they are the sponsor of this video. You can sign up for PrizePicks and use promo code Noah. Also, take advantage of the free square promo that we mentioned. You can look on the left side of the screen. PrizePicks running a free square promo. They have Justin Jefferson's receiving yards set at 0.5. This will be available all the way up until Thursday night on Thanksgiving when that Vikings-Patriots game starts. So you definitely want to take advantage of this promo. Pair this pick with any other pick that you like. It can be an NFL pick. It can be an NBA pick. It can be whatever sport. On PrizePicks, you mix and match sports. You can make multi-sport entries. It's a lot of fun. You guys definitely need to be playing over there. Get signed up. Use promo code Noah, and you will get your first deposit matched up to $100. But best of luck, guys, on this little 4-game slate. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, appreciate you watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.